Lights over there. Can we light it up? There we go. Cool beans. There's a shoe stand right here. Let's get some test strips. Black. What is this called? Black Mr. Chuck? What up, Mike? What up, Mike? I might have to turn this. There we go. Yeah, it's gonna have to be what it is. That joint smelled good. That joint smelled good. What up, Dan? Good to see you, brother. What up, Juan? It's always Q&A, Dan. Always Q&A. I just go live to answer questions for everybody. Have you tried Mancera French Riviera? Yes. Sanique Terry? No. But French Riviera, yes. It's okay for young people. If you're over 25, it's boring. And if you like French Riviera, instead get, what is the name of the fragrance? Day 3 Fragrances Del Mar. Or Roja y Sola Sol. Uh, I could try that. I could try that. Actually, hold on. Let me look. Anytime I listen to folks, I always gotta tread carefully. I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. My day is awesome. My day is awesome. What up, Cyber? It's interesting. It's interesting. You have to kind of go 2-to-1 on Sauvage Elixir because the Elixir is way stronger than Pacific Chill. It's okay. What up? What up? What up? Hey, listen, it's Friday night. Everybody should be out partying, but if you're kicking it here, you get access to me. So ask away. Haven't tried Rayhan Valhalla. In fact, Rayhan is a brand that, even though I really respect the Rayhan line altogether because they make a lot of great fragrances, I haven't tried the latest like 4 of them because I just have the real thing of what they're cloning, so I haven't tried them. But I have a lot of people who have them and speak very highly of them, so I will get them sent to me. Let me see what that's been scored. I got the laptop on me in case I got to do any research tonight. Oh, shoot. Come on. Rayhan. Fragrantica. What was that? Valhalla? Yeah. So I got a 4.31 out of 5 out of only 148 votes, so not enough people are voting yet. Just dropped Raspberry Cognac. Oud. Raspberry Cognac, Liquor, Rose, Tonka Bean, Oak Moss, Oak, Sandalwood, Praline. Supposed to be another Angel Share? Angel Share Paradise, Royal Blend, Sequoia. Okay. I have stuff like it, but I haven't tried it yet. Let's see. What up, Coach? Is that Fougere Royale? Yes. What is your favorite? I have too many, man. Have too many. You know? True. To me, it made SE wearable in the summer because of how fresh it is. I feel like the saltiness, paired well with the spicy of the other. Oh, they work. They work for sure. I just think to really make it worth, I mean, now granted, if you're doing that combo, I'm almost 100% sure you're using dupes, not the real thing, because you wouldn't, I think that would be a waste of a combo, mixing real afternoon swim with real Sauvage Elixir. But assuming you're using clones, you would want to do 2-to-1 with that. Every 2 sprays, go 1 spray of Sauvage. So I might do something like 4 to 6 sprays of afternoon swim, and I would actually spray that last because it's the weaker fragrance. So I would do 2 to 3 sprays of Sauvage, 4 to 6 sprays of Pacific Chill on top. Can you tell me a joke? No. Just got a Zaro, the most wanted gift set last since EDP Intense Parfum. EDP Intense is my favorite so far. What are some other fragrances similar to most wanted? I mean, so many. Just pick any spicy sweet fragrance. If you want to upgrade from a Zaro in the spicy sweet category, try Halloween Man Shot. This one right here. Halloween Man Shot. Whew. I need an everyday year-round signature scent. What do you recommend? Where do you live and how old are you and how much are you trying to spend? How is it? Good. SB in the building. Center of the day. Paradise Garden. Beautiful. I don't have Paradise Garden, but I do have a great clone of it. You guys ever seen this? They don't really talk about this one much online. This sucker is boombastic. Very loud, super longevity, amazing Paradise Garden clone. Haven't spoke about that one on the channel yet, but it's coming. Bum, 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 bum. What's something that lasts 10 plus hours and projection is crazy? I have imagination and I want something else at that level with fresh smell. Go with Offnon Rare Reef. You'll get just as much, if not more, performance than Imagination. It's an LV fragrance with exotic fruits, just like Imagination, less citric, slightly more fruity, and monstrous performance. And it won't break the bank. I think you'll pay 30, 40 bucks for it. 18 Texas, no budget. Okay, and what was your question? Everyday year-round signature scent and you're broke. You're 18, so this one isn't going to be the craziest signature scent, but most of your 18-year-old friends, well, okay, I guess I'll swag you out a little bit. Right here. Club de Nuit Pre-Show. Go ahead and take a screenshot of that with your phone. You can get this for 35, 40 bucks. Creed Aventus. Absolute. 35, 40 bucks. There's not a lot of juice. I think it's a 55 ml, but it's monstrous performance. So you only have to spray it 2-3 times. You're so good. Especially at school, all you need is 2 sprays. It'll go the whole day. And you will smell rich as heck as an 18-year-old kid. You will smell rich. You'll smell like a boss. 2-3 sprays of that. That fragrance will last you over a year, 35, 40 bucks. probably the most niche, expensive smelling fragrance you can get at that price point. Have you tried Coltrane? Come on. Don't be silly. SBU is saying last time that there was a Dark Lord by Killian clone, and I couldn't find it. Do you remember the name? It is called. I can't tell you the name of it, but I can show you a fragrance that you can look into because they have the same bottle. So you're gonna want to look for the. Is this Fragrance World? Paris Corner. So Paris Corner has this line. It's the Emir line, EMIR. And the Dark Lord clone is one of these, but in the darker bottle. They're very poetic, so it's hard for me to recall the name of it. But if you look up Paris Corner Emir line, you will find it because there's only like 4 or 5 fragrances in this style. So if you Google it, just look for the black bottles, copy paste those into Google and say, you know, this such and such is a clone of, and then hit enter and let it tell you what it's a clone of, and you should find the Dark Lord clone. This line's very nice. The Emir line from Paris Corner is really nice. This one is Angel Share, which is amazing. But if you're looking for the other one, yeah. What got you into fragrances? So I always wore the same 5 to 6 fragrances for like 15 years. So I've always been into fragrance, but my fragrance, I didn't have a fragrance journey. I just wore the same 5, 6 fragrances, you know, and they always did the job for me. But then like 5, 6 years ago, I was like, dang, I haven't got a fragrance in a really long time. Like the last time I bought a fragrance prior to this was like 10 years ago or something. So I went to Sephora and I bought Jimmy Choo Man, and I bought something else. I forget. It might have been a Valentino Uomo or something. And then when I got home, the algorithm started recommending me all these different fragrances. And when I was on YouTube one day, a recommended video in the feed was the 10 best clone fragrances of all time. And then I watched it and I was like, what the heck is a clone? And then I was learning in real time that there were such thing as clones. That I learned so much in that one video. I learned that clones and dupes exist, and I didn't know what they were. And then I also learned that there are a tier of fragrances past designer called niche that are basically just a bunch of super expensive fragrances north of $200. And so then I went back to Sephora. I smelled every fragrance for men, wrote down all the DNAs that I liked, then looked up clones of all of those. Then I Googled niche brands, tried to learn every single niche brand, then tried to figure out how I could shop and smell the real thing. And then it just led down a rabbit hole of buying a clone and buying the OG, buying a clone, buying an OG, being blown away how good the clones were. And then I actually went on a journey. So I'm like, you know, I'm pushing 40. So I'm actually interested in the clones and the OGs. So I just started going to stores and smelling designers, OG niche, and then buying some clones. And then that led down a rabbit hole into like, you know, vintage and independent niche and different festivals. And then I had some boutiques like Day 3 open up next to me. It just led down a huge spiral. And then I realized before I knew it that I was no longer just shopping for a practical fragrance. I was shopping to learn about fragrance. And then that was it, man. And then when I had my second son, Caden, I couldn't go into my office. This office that you guys see was empty when I first moved into this house. I didn't have time to be in my office at night. And so when I had Caden and I was up all night, like watching him and feeding him, I was like, you know what? I need some kind of sanity from being a father and a husband and working all the time. I'm just gonna go into that office, turn my cell phone on, and film me talking about a fragrance. And that was right in the midst of like, you know, being 2 or 3 years into a bunch of fragrances and kind of having a little bit. And then so many people started like actually following me and asking me about stuff. And then I just met a couple of really dope people in the space that were like opening up my brain, and I just couldn't believe that this world existed. And so like literally my YouTube channel is kind of like my smoke break, because every night I would pop in here for like 15 minutes and just record a video about fragrances, and the channel just started growing so fast. And it was so convenient because my life was crazy. You know, the first year with a 1-year-old, you know, from birth to 1 years old is crazy. So like filming fragrance videos for 15 minutes a night, as stupid as that was, it was like straight sanity. And it like balanced my crazy days out with some kind of normalcy. And then, you know, it just started taking off. And then here we are, you know, a year and a little over a year and a half later from when I started my channel. But my fragrance journey really didn't unpause and pick up to a different level till about 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, that's how I got into it. Let's see. I haven't smelled anything that hits like Layton. I have Detour Noir, an exclusive Oud Blue. What clone of Layton do you prefer? The clone of Layton that I prefer that actually isn't a clone, it's a designer fragrance, is where are you? Right here. So this is actually a designer fragrance that just happens to clone this fragrance by accident. This is Lalique White and Black. Lalique White and Black. This is about $20 to $25 for a jumbo size 100 ml. It smells just like Layton, but a little bit fresher and lighter on the skin, so it's a little bit more versatile. And even though it's a little bit lighter, it still has great performance. It's just you can wear it for a little bit more than just winter nights. You can wear it spring, summer evenings, and all fall, and then all winter. I actually prefer this over Layton. I've had Layton and Layton exclusive, and I actually prefer this $20, $30 fragrance over them because it smells a little bit less cherry, chapsticky, slightly medicinal, and just smells more mass appeal. With you still get the depth. But yeah, to me, I call this the best Layton clone. This is better, way better in quality than Detour Noir and the exclusive Detour Noir and the Al Haramain Layton. You know, this is just killer. Matter of fact, I might wear that tomorrow. Coltrane, I warned you, buddy. Take a break. Bro, can I buy a perfume? Bro, can I buy a perfume from Guess? You can do whatever you want. Thanks, man. And do you know a good clone for Black Phantom? And if not, do you know of something in that same spicy coffee DNA? No, I don't. So there's a pretty good clone of Black Phantom as well as Straight to Heaven. Triple Traders has it, and I don't know the brand and I don't know the name, but I've seen that Triple Traders has them, and Triple Traders typically only carries cream of the crop clone brands because they've been in the game for a really long time. So go to tripletraders.com and in the search type Black Phantom, and a fragrance clone will pop up of Black Phantom because all of their fragrances have what it's cloning in parentheses next to the fragrance. So I would recommend go to Triple Traders, type, you know, by Killian, Straight to Heaven, by Killian, Black Phantom, and whatever fragrances pop up, those are the ones I recommend. And those are the only quality clones out there. I don't know about the accuracy because I haven't reviewed those yet, but I know that Triple Traders typically only carries the upper echelon clone brands. And they're all rated, so you could see based off the rating if it'd be worth getting into. Outside of Triple Traders, I've seen nobody speak of a great Straight to Heaven or Black Phantom clone. They all suck. Test wearing Ross over at TLTG's Sunkiss Island from Zaharoff. Yeah, I have it. I actually was wearing this earlier. I have all of Zed Creators actually. And actually my Zaharoff Passport bundle, shout outs to the Fragrance Apprentice. He sent me this as well. And one of these is Ibere. So I have Ibere in like a 10 ml travel. And then I have shout outs to Kix. Kix didn't know I had Ibere when he sent it, I believe. So he sent me all 3 of the Zed Creators. And I was actually wearing Sunkiss Island earlier today, actually. It's not bad, you know? I mean, you got to get over the fact that it smells like suntan lotion and then dries down into basically ashy coconut. You got to kind of get over that, I guess. But maybe you don't have to get over it. For me, I think it's well made. You know, it's classic Zaharoff hand, even though he wasn't the perfumer, I believe. But, you know, it's a fun casual wear for sure. I would be inclined to layer it just because I really hate the way coconut's done in most fragrances. And the coconut's done okay. It's not cloying in Sunkissed Island, but it's right there on the border. Like, I would want to tone that thing down because I don't get so much coconut in the opening. I get more of the suntan. It's kind of like a Sunkiss suntan lotion, and then it dries down into more of that coconut, but the coconut's kind of chalky. So, you know, I would be inclined to want to layer that fragrance. But, you know, if you were on a beach and you had the wind kind of like wafting it, I feel like it would be much better. What's that black bottle next to Fougere Royale? Straight to Heaven by Killian. Great clone of Parfums de Marly, Leighton, Lalique, White and Black. Thank you, Greenlee. Fragrance World Spectre Wraith for Black Phantom 2. I thought Spectre Wraith, though, was Ani. I thought that was Nishane's Ani. Oh, no, Spectre Ghost. Spectre Ghost is Ani. Spectre Wraith, Black Phantom. Okay, yeah. And Spectre Wraith is actually pretty good. It's not that close to Black Phantom. I think it's like 80%, but I think people still like it as a fragrance. What up, Shamil? Good to see you. Kix, what up? Oh, Kix is always looking out. Where do you get your decants from? All over, man. I mean, you want the honest to God truth? 80-90% of my decants come from my subscribers and my friends because we all buy fragrances and stuff, and then we send each other decants. Like, hey, I saw you have this. I've never smelled it before. Can you send me a 3 ml of it? Yeah, we'll send each other, you know, 10, 15 decants a piece and for free. You know, it'd be like, hey, if you cover the shipping, man, here, you can get your nose on all this. And we'll just do like massive decant swaps. Now, if I have to decant shop, you know, I kind of Scent Decant, I think, is the best priced, but they don't carry everything. So I go to Scent Decant for the best deals because you can always get 30% off. So if the decant is $5, you get it for $3, basically. They 30% off every decant. You know, then you have, but Scent Decant doesn't carry everything. So I'll go my friends, my subscribers, Scent Decant. Then if I want something expensive, I'll go to, you know, Lucky Scent or one of those places and buy a whole discovery set. Like, I'm really big on getting discovery sets. So I'll get it on like Lucky Scent or one of those types of places, or Scent Split, or Mercari. So like, for instance, this Mont Blanc exclusive line, their private line, discovery set is $50 typically. And I was able to get a brand new one off of Mercari for $20. So sometimes I go off market for like discovery sets that are hard to find. It really just depends on how hard it is to find. And 80-90% of all my decants, like I said, come from my subscribers and my friends, which I highly recommend you guys get into. You know, friend up and say like, hey, as you get new fragrances, maybe every couple months or so, can we, you know, send each other like 5 decants or something? And then depending on if you guys are big collectors, you can ramp up and say, hey, maybe every 3-4 months we send each other 10-15 decants. We'll just swap and cover each other's shipping. That's a really good way to get down. Outside of that, you know, Mercari, Scent Split for the best deals. For the bundle, you know, discovery sets, you typically have to hit up like a Lucky Scent or something to really get the niche discovery sets. And sometimes I'll go for decants to the Whatnot app, because there's a lot of desperate retailers that will give you a ton of samples as well. I actually like how unique. Oh, you felt Sunkissed Island was unique? I felt it was quite typical, man. Like, I mean, when you look at like beach scents, you know, you have Isola Blue from Roja, you have Isola Soul from Roja, you have, you know, Coco Loco, you have Bonnie, you have Del Mar. I mean, all these beach scents are suntan lotion or coconut fragrances, basically. And really the only nuance that this has over the others is like maybe a slice of orange, but it's so tucked in the back of like an obnoxious coconut note and kind of the suntan feel that you don't really get the sun-kissed part. It's more island. You know, you should have called it island coconut or something. So I didn't feel it was very unique. But it is, it kind of has the Zaharoff feel to the fragrance. So in terms of quality, I guess it feels a little more unique. But like Bonnie, Del Mar, Isola Soul, Isola Blue, even Coco Loco, like all those are better than that to me. Hold on one sec, guys. Sorry, guys. Duty calls when my son's crying. All right, what else do you got? Scent of the day, 1 Million Elixir. That's a good scent. Have you tried any Tom Ford perfumes? And if so, have you found any cheaper fragrances that smell similar and perform just as well? Yes, yes, and yes. Aravind, I could tell you're new here. Go to my channel. Go into the playlist called Reviews, and just type in any Tom Ford fragrance you're interested in and watch the video. If it's a video on an actual Tom Ford fragrance that I'm reviewing, at the end of every video, I talk about alternatives. So you can fast forward to the alternatives at the end of the video and see, oh, if I'm reviewing Tom Ford Oud Wood, look at the end of the video where I'm doing my recap, and I'll tell you cheaper alternatives if there are any. Or sometimes when you type Tom Ford into the search on my video section, you'll just find titles like best clone of such and such. So yes, 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 and yes to your question. Yeah, having the skin musk as a note turns it into what you actually smell like after a full day at the beach, like a sweaty little fading sunscreen after being at the lake and sun all day. Yeah, I agree. And in that sense, it's nice, but I think all beach scents try for that. You know what I'm saying? They might not be dealing with, high quality musks or something like that, but I mean, essentially all beach scents that I've come across go for a mix or an isolation of coconut and sunscreen. So I feel like it's not unique in its DNA. It might be a little bit unique in like the weight of the fragrance maybe, but I feel like it's not a vibe that's really original. But I don't know if that's a problem either. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has good push. It's bright. It's fun. It's very dumb reach. I just think like at the $150 price point, Del Mar smokes the boots off this fragrance and puts you in the exact same spot, way more unique. Roja Isola Sol or Isola Blue absolutely spanks it. But yeah, in its price point, Coco Loco, Coco Moon, Rio, what's that? Self Portrait by Rio or whatever. Bonnie, even. It's just so much better stuff that lasts longer. But, it all depends on what fragrance you get into first. Like if you never got into any of those fragrances I just named, and your first starting point into like a good sunscreen fragrance is the Zaharoff, the Sunkissed Island, I wouldn't tell you like, man, you should have got the other one, like, because I think Sunkissed Island, like, for what it is, um, it definitely smells very high quality. It lasts really well. Um, so that's another thing is like, I don't want to get into the culture of saying like, just because you didn't get the best version of what I think that scent is, doesn't mean anything. Cause like, it doesn't change the fact that if it's good, it's good. You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, like, it's a good fragrance. Spectre Wraith has and reminds me of a ratio, blah, 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 Black Phantom. Yeah, it's about 85%. Thank you, Greenlee. I appreciate that clarification. Do you have a licorice fragrance in your collection? I do, but I don't have anything that smells like licorice. So for that, I'm going to say no. Do you enjoy Pegasus? Tested it and loved it. Have you tried Pegasus exclusive? What's your opinion on the two and what do you recommend? I think both are great. And truthfully, I can't tell you what would make me pick exclusive over original. I really, really loved the original Pegasus, but the exclusives to the PDM line seem to, I don't know if darken's the right word, knock down sweetness is kind of the general trend that I feel like exclusives do to the PDM line. So you kind of get the same thing, but something a little bit more tame. So my general impulse is to say that if you want something more mature feeling and less sweet, go with the exclusives. And if you want something more mass appeal for that DNA, go with the originals. Yeah. Would you recommend any fragrances for a funeral? Yes, a couple actually. Oud for Greatness would go great at a funeral. Ancre Noir, the black bottle, would go great at a funeral. What's another gothic fragrance? Tom Ford Original Noir EDP would be a great funeral fragrance. Royal Oud from Creed would be a great funeral fragrance. Yeah, those are powerhouses. You really don't have to go beyond that. Do you have thoughts on why Beau de Jour was discontinued? I'm almost certain Beau de Jour was discontinued because of an ingredient issue with IFRA, as IFRA bans ingredients if the fragrance had an inkling of it in there, and then now the fragrances can't have that ingredient. They're not gonna, rather than remix the juice and ruin a classic, they're gonna just move on, or bring it back when they feel more comfortable with the alternative accord that they build out for it. I think Beau de Jour has oak moss, so maybe that might have been an issue. Um, it also could be that, what was the other reason I was going to bring up? So you have the IFRA guideline situation, and then sometimes like they're sourcing a certain amount of ingredients to make that, and the source that they order from changes it. It might say like, you know, we have Italian lavender and we have you on a contract to get X amount of grams, and then over time, all of a sudden they call and say, you know what, our lavender source, we changed and we migrated and switched it to French lavender, has a slightly different feel, and then now it screws the batch up, you know, because normally houses order in particular quantities. So you just never know. But what I do know is that Beau de Jour is a fougere. So fougères typically have a lot of ingredients that get banned from IFRA, and therefore make it hard to go back and continue making, because they cannot find an alternative replacement that doesn't change the DNA of the fragrance. And Beau de Jour is a fougere classic, so you can't mess that up. Are the PDM clones from Maison Alhambra worth it? No, not really. Yeah, no, Greenlee, I understood what you were getting at. I just think like that fact about skin musk is not going to change the general perception of people who smell it. Like that might be an interesting thing for you and I, that maybe we can make out the differences and how the musk feels. But I think most of the audience would smell it and say, this smells like suntan lotion. This smells like coconuts. And that would be the extent of the review. Now, throw everything that I'm saying out the window. Sunkissed Island sold out very quickly, you know, in weeks. So screw what SB is saying. Everybody bought that fragrance. Now, did everybody buy it because it was amazing? Well, that fragrance is almost sold out before it came out. So a lot of the reasons for people buying it was, you know, the hype and marketing was phenomenal. You know, it was a Z creator, so you had 3 different people kind of pooling together audience interest. And then you had the limited quantity situation. So a lot of people bought multiple bottles so that they could resell them on Mercari and decant them out to people who couldn't get them when they sold out. So I don't know if the fragrance sold out truly because it was amazing, as much as it had incredible marketing. Everybody pre-ordered it before, which meant that they hadn't even smelled it yet. And a lot of gougers were trying to steal the juice to charge inflated prices to the public. But what I can say is they did sell out. So at the end of the day, whether it was unique or not is not really an issue. People bought it, and therefore we must assume people loved it. I got Born to Stand Out Naked Laundry vibes subtly in the background of the mid. I could see that. I could definitely see that. I know you don't like to play favorites, but what's your best fragrance pickup of 2025? No, Shamil, that's actually a good question, because it's very specific. You know, what was I most excited about in 2025? I'll give you a couple, because 2025 honestly was like my biggest year in fragrance. Not only did I have a lot of pickups, but I got a lot of, like, my entire collection really got narrow, because I gave away and sold over 100 bottles. And at the back end of 2025, I really tried to build my top 100. So I still have maybe like 300 bottles at this point. You know, I got rid of 100. I got rid of way more than that, but you know, I skewed my collection down. I trimmed the fat. And to do that, I had to get fragrances that I really thought were elite. So like this Ubagant Fougere Royale was easily one of the best pickups of 2025 for the simple fact that I got it for $8 at an auction. Brand new, sealed. I could have took it online, made $280 off of it. But something in my heart told me, you know what? This is a historical fragrance. There's a reason they still charge $300 for a fragrance like this, or $225, I forget. And it's a piece of history. It's the first Fougere fragrance ever made. It's authentic. It was sealed. So I cracked it open, smelled it, absolutely blown away at the juice. It's still incredible. It smells modern. And I got it for $8, and it retails for like $225 to $300. So that right there was a super memorable Fougere fragrance. Trace Oros in 2025. Highest complimented fragrance of 2025, without question. There was only one time I wore this that I didn't receive a compliment. And by the way, if you're wondering why my juice is so red and looks like midnight raspberry, even though it's Trace Oros, I think the musk inside of it oxidized, and this is the natural color of the musk, so it turned. But anyways, this was the highest complimented fragrance for me of 2025. I got an uncountable amount of compliments every single time I wore this out at night. So this was just amazing because I had a lot of fun just wearing this, and the wafting and the vibrancy of this fragrance, and just always getting the feedback. You know, it's pretty cool when you wear a fragrance, you're walking around, you think it's a great fragrance, but you don't know what other people think about it, even though you love it. But it's cool to wear the fragrance and be like, I think I feel like I'm the man. And then people come up and like, yo, what are you wearing? Like, this is crazy. And you're like, oh, I was right. Like, people connect to this just like I connect to this. And what's crazy is when I first met Michael Paul from Day 3, I went into the boutique to kind of support that local business. And I already determined in my mind I was going to get Ambar Dominicana and Bonnie. But when I went in there and actually sprayed this fragrance from the full bottle presentation, it's much different than trying it in the samples. The samples were amazing, but when you have a small atomizer, it changes the impact, the first impression of the fragrance by a lot. When I sprayed this, it was just clear that this was the best fragrance in the house, for sure, because it just has so much star power to it and so much life to it. So that's highest complimented of 2025. This fragrance, Quercia, this is from the oldest living fragrance house in the world, established in the year 1200. This was the first perfume house ever. How did I get this? My mom went to Italy, in, I believe, Florence. Saw this house, went in there, bought a discovery set, bought this as well as ombre, because, you know, I told my mom, I said, you know, I don't care what I have to pay. Please just bring me back some fragrances. Here are some spots in Italy that aren't anywhere else in the world. Just go in there. I'll give you some names, see what you can find, you know. And she did that. And one of the fragrances I brought back was Quercia, which is from one of the oldest houses. Now, this is a new fragrance from the house. I think it's less than a couple years old, but it's from the oldest living house in perfumery. A lot of people think Ubagant and a few others, you know, 1411 and all that stuff, 4711 are the oldest fragrances. No, fragrances from this house are the oldest, 1200 AD. So that's amazing to have like a fragrance from the, you know, the first, the longest living fragrance perfumery. What else is like crazy pickups of 2025? The Rojas. Finally, being predominantly a clone guy, with a few designers and a few niche, and really building out my niche collection to be as big as the rest of my collection was huge. Now some Boadicea, a lot of Roja. That was a really cool thing for 2025, is to acquire bigger brands. Boadicea, Roja, Floris, Guerlain, Chanel Private, Amouage, Ex Nihilo. Going to the Ex Nihilo boutique in LA and getting a private tour with champagne and hors d'oeuvres on Hollywood Boulevard. That was a big thing in 2020. Again, as you guys can see, my 2025 was ridiculous, So, best fragrance of 2025, I mean, every story I just told you was like insane. So, it's like, which one do you pick? And that's the thing that I hope you guys get out of my channel, is like, I am living a real fragrance journey. I'm not watching everybody else in FragCom talk about fragrances and then trying to emulate that. I'm in my own scent bubble doing my own real journey. And my journey is fun because I'm a fun person, and I actually get into I'm the kind of person that gets into something and like wants to see it from all angles. So my fragrance journey, I like the history. I like not just having the new thing. I like having the old thing. I like hearing about all the new stuff, like the clone world and the auction houses and all that. I like hearing it from the perfumer's perspective or the marketing house's perspective. And that's stuff that I don't see in FragCom. FragCom is kind of like very narrow-minded. Everybody's kind of into their own things, and they kind of just sit there. That's cool, but that's not me. And so I have a lot of highlights for 2025 because I was really out here smelling, buying, and trying fragrances every single day of the year. And my journey reflects that. There wasn't a single day since I started this YouTube channel that I did not upload a video a day. I have dropped 1 to 4 videos every single day since this channel started. And it's because I'm out here with an abundance of fragrance journey that I'm knee deep in. So for 2025, I mean, I could literally sit here with stories galore. This house, Floris, another really historical old house, I think established in the 1700s, maybe 1800s, established in the UK. They're a brand where you can go in there, see all of their original scents, but then you can also make their fragrances and tweak them however the heck you want. You can actually make your own fragrance based off anything in there that you like. I scored this vintage fragrance, Edwardian Bouquet, which a perfumer made for like a royal king and queen back in the days in England. And so it was kind of like a one-off for the king and queen. It was supposed to smell like a wedding. And I scored this sealed brand new in an auction for like less than $10. Nobody knew what it was. And so that was incredible, to have a florist fragrance that I didn't really pay for, that's sitting in my collection. I just have stories galore, man. If you look at what I was working with in my collection at the beginning of 2025 to this month, you'll see that a lot of stuff was acquired. A lot of stuff was acquired. So I've just been having fun, man. Scent of the day, Missoni Wave blended with Nautica Voyage. That's dope. Yeah, that is nuts. The Ubagant situation was utterly crazy. I didn't even believe it at first, but the batch code checked out. It was sealed. It came from a reputable retailer liquidation. The fragrance retailer that auctioned it has been around for like 40 years. Everything checked out. And the fragrance is incredible, long lasting, rich as crap. And Again, everything checked out. So, and that's not the only thing that happened. Ubagant wasn't the only thing I scored. Like my entire vintage line, like my entire vintage collection, I bought through auction. And I probably didn't spend more than about $600, which is like the price of a Roja or an entry-level Bodicea, right? Probably spent like $600. For $600 in the auction, I basically got over 150 sealed vintage fragrances. And we're not talking like generic stuff. The original Bulgari Pour Homme vintage. Kenzo Safari vintage. Ubagant, Vintage La Lique, Mauboussin, Coty, Balmain, just crazy stuff. Aramis, just Stetson, original, check this out. This is like a really old school Moschino fragrance. Before they started getting bubblegummy and teddy bearish, they had this sucker, which smells like a freaking Bortnikov of, cognac and incense and woods. Look how crazy this bottle was. Original Moschino Pour Homme. Just so, my splashes, my original vintage splashes, freaking Brut, Double Whiskey, the Baron, Cuba, 4711, Tabac, Caron, just tons of stuff. $600-ish. You got like almost 200 sealed vintage. That was an incredible thing in 2025. Like the retail value of what I accumulated was like $6,000 and I got it for like $600. That's insane. I came up on so many cool things because I was so active in the space. You ever tried any Atkinson fragrances? No, I haven't. Thanks for the recommendation on the Majesty and Oud. Good morning, Manuel. Tomorrow I have Cough delivered to my house. It's supposed to be a Fierce Percival type. Yeah. You're talking about this fragrance, right? Kaaf. I think Cough is great. Super versatile. It'll remind you of, Hawas Ice, Invictus Aqua, Silver Mountain Water, all of those, kind of like metallic freshies, but I think Cough was done the best. Almost little to no sweetness, just the tiniest bit of the sweetness in the background. Very palatable, smooth metallic, very fresh, super long lasting. I think it's an incredible pickup. I just bought Creed Aventus Cologne, so good. Yeah, Aventus Cologne is super slept on. I have Absolute, but genuinely, I think what people sleep on with Aventus Cologne is that Aventus and Aventus Absolute are so much louder, and the Cologne wears fresher and more versatile. And people don't perceive lighter as better, but what happens is you get really bored of the bombastic pineapple smoke woody DNA, and you just want a nice fresh cologne version of it so you can wear it more often. And that's what people take for granted. So I think Aventus Cologne arguably is just as essential to have. And then, ideally you'd get either Aventus and Aventus Cologne or Absolute, which is my preference, Absolute and Cologne. That way you have the Cologne to wear every day and you have the Absolute for special occasions. I appreciate all fragrances now because of you. I used to not be a fan of the sweetness on fragrance. You put me on game. Listen, man, sweetness is tricky. Vetiver is tricky. Rose is tricky. Oud is tricky. What I realized is that a lot of the stuff I didn't like was not that I didn't like it. It was that I didn't like what people did with it. And so the question is, are you just going to close the door on rose because 90% of rose fragrances suck? Or are you going to travel and do the hard work of trying and testing out fragrances and figure out what roses are great? You know, most vetiver fragrances suck. Are you going to go try a bunch of stuff and figure out which vetivers are amazing so you could get the benefits of that? Same thing with sweetness. Most sweet fragrances I absolutely hate. But then when you come across something, you know, like Absolute Aphrodisiac from Initio, and it's a vanilla dominant fragrance, but the vanilla is tamed so perfectly and has complexity. Will you allow yourself to get to that point to find a fragrance like that? That's really what it comes down to. I realize most people don't have the time, energy, and or money to go through that journey and find those things. So I go through that journey for you so that I can help you cut the line and get to the things that you really care about. I love vetivers and picked up Vetiver Sensual, Guerlain's Vetiver EDT, and Gray Vetiver. What are other vetivers that you would suggest? Absolutely. One vetiver that is nothing like those, but way more wearable and way more unique is Guerlain's Aqua Allegoria Forte Neroli Vetiver. You have to get the Forte. It's the more gold label, and it has Forte. Don't get the fragrance like this that doesn't say Forte. That's the EDT. This is the EDP. Just a radiant Neroli Vetiver, sweet, creamy, fresh, everyday wear. It's got fig leaf in it, so it's got this bright, slight fruitiness. It's radiant. For a fragrance like this, it's surprising how classy and upscale it still feels. You know, it's not like a Fico di Amalfi or like an Acqua di Parma where it's like all fun and games and fruit and citrus. This is like more upscale buttoned up version, but it's like super versatile. You could wear it anywhere all day casually, and it's just a fun, bright scent, but it maintains the class. You don't lose your masculinity or your age with that fragrance. Another vetiver would be Lunar Vetiver from Amouroud, Amoroud. Amouroud Lunar Vetiver is a great vetiver. Even this vetiver that I just reviewed last night, one of the very few purest vetiver forward fragrances that's just straight vetiver, mono fragrance, has a lot of character. It's called F-Zotic, F-Z-O-T-I-C, Vetiverissimo. This is another really interesting take on vetiver. It's more of a purist vetiver fragrance, but it's one of the highest quality raw material vetivers out there. And they created a smell that's like Encre Noir a la Extreme, but way more higher quality, like even higher quality than Sycamore. And those two fragrances for a lot of people are hard to wear, but this takes both of those ideas and just gives you like an incredible dry wood, slight sweet vetiver that's just like, whoa, that's cool. So yeah, there's a lot of great vetiver scents to get into. Trying to think if there's any other like vetiver forward celebration type of fragrances. Get into those ones I named. Aqua Allegoria Forte Nerolia Vetiver, Amouroud Lunar Vetiver, and F-Zotic Vetiverissimo. Those will give you something that you don't currently have with the vetivers you picked up. Even Roja's vetiver is the most wearable vetiver to me. It's like a sparkling Sprite vetiver, but way better. Even Bal d'Afrique or Boadicea the Victorious Hanuman, great vetiver fragrances. But my new baby Cedrat Boisé from Mancera, that's a decent one. Have you ever heard of Versace Dylan Purple? Of course. Yeah. I'm not really good at this point, Michael, of giving alternatives to women's scents. I just now started reviewing a lot of women's fragrances, and I've probably gone through about 200 women's scents, about 100 designers, 100 niche. I'm more experienced in unisex fragrances, so I'm not the best person to ask for an alternative to Dylan Purple at this point in my journey. Thoughts on Burberry Brit versus Burberry Touch? I prefer Touch, but both are very good and both are very highly sold. I won the Off Non-Supremacy's Collector's Edition when you ran it on Whatnot a couple months ago. Beautiful, Miles. Literally in love with the fragrance. You're definitely the expert when it comes to fragrances. I appreciate that. Thank you, Miles, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Off Non-Supremacy Collector's Edition, amazing fragrance, lasts forever, feels high quality. You know, you can put a couple sprays on, it lasts forever. You can put a lot of sprays on, smells super CEO-ish. You know, it's a great twist on the Aventus DNA, more so like Hasselblad. It's your first introduction to a really smooth oak moss note, which usually comes off very earthy, but in this fragrance just comes off very smooth and masculine. Collector's Edition is one of the best releases of 2025. What do you think of Chanel Allure Blanche Edition? I think it's the best Chanel Allure fragrance. It's easily the best. In the Allure line, Edition Blanche is the best, no question. Hard to get, though. You still got to pay a pretty penny for that fragrance these days. What was an affordable fragrance that was so good it changed your standards when it comes to value? I mean, so many fragrances that you guys own, right? Like every fragrance you own is probably something affordable that changed your mind about not having to buy niche, but niche doesn't get canceled out in my journey. Like there's still some niche fragrances that you guys will never get close to. They'll never have alternatives and they'll always be upper tier, upper echelon fragrance. You cannot replicate Chanel Coromandel. You cannot. That fragrance will always be God tier niche. You have to climb the ladder to get to it. It cannot be replicated. Roja Diaghilev cannot be replicated. Harrods from Roja can't be replicated. Taif Oud can't be replicated. You know, Flor Narcotique from Ex Nihilo can't be replicated. Nasamato Baranda or Nasamato Pardon can't be replicated. Gentili Uomo Mephisto can't be replicated. Ubagant can't be replicated. Serge Lutens can't be replicated. Javoy can't be replicated. Day 3 cannot be replicated. I mean, there is just such a need for niche in this space. But with that being said, you can still have a great journey with designers and vintage and clones. There's just a limitation because it doesn't mean you can't get something on that side of the fence that competes, but you're missing a whole side of perfumery that celebrates upper tier quality with most of their fragrances, and therefore there's a different type of experience that comes with an upgrade in ingredients and raw materials, and sometimes an upgrade in creativity. Is Listafa Assad 1-to-1 of Sauvage Elixir? No, it's about 80%. Absolutely. The talk with the man from day 3 was epic. I only use Trace Oros for special occasions. Yeah, it's a great fragrance. It feels special. You know, when you spray Trace Oros, you immediately get hit with a sense of like, oh, this is special. How can you tell if an auction is legit? Research, man. The same way you'd approach eBay or Amazon. You look up the reviews, you look up how many transactions they've had, you read the reviews to see if there's any cases of phony behavior. You watch their show to see how much inventory they have and how diverse the inventory is. You know, you do your due diligence. My scent of the day is Castley. Good scent. I'm still waiting to find something crazy at an estate sale or something. They're asking 10 for a Roja Dove because they don't know what it is. Yeah, that'd be amazing. That'd be crazy. Yeah, anytime, Greenlee, anytime. Have you tried Polo 67 EDP? Yes, I think it's really good. It doesn't beat Polo Deep Blue, I believe. But it's 67 is one of the better polos in the lineup. I wouldn't mind wearing Polo 67 as like a daily driver, no question. Nice scent of the day, Joel. Very nice. SB, in what situations do you find yourself wearing Aramis New West? Work. Work, man. When I want to get work done and I want to feel professional, New West. I have Eros EDP. It's almost a full bottle and wore it yesterday. I forget how great this scent was. I actually appreciate it. I think it's going to be a classic in the future. Honestly, I don't even think it's a young man smell. I just read up, you know, my juice in my Eros is almost gone, as you can see. But I bought a 6.7 bottle of Eros and refilled it. Where is that? Where the heck is that? Somewhere. Somewhere I have a. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so here I have a 50 ml of Eros EDP, and Eros will go into a memoir, and Eros will always be in my collection. I just think it is perfect. It is dead perfect. You know, it's the perfect balance of sweet, sensual with classy. It's not trying to be too classy, but it's also not trying to be too romantic, which is why it is so versatile. It's not even funny. What up, Mindset? Best Montiere Premier to me is, well, this is cheating, really. But the best Montiere Premier, I have Ensan Suave, which I love. But Vanilla Powder, Falcon Leather, those are incredible to me. Yeah, Falcon Leather and Vanilla Powder and Ensan Suave, with Ensan Suave for me being my number one. Killian's Angel Share, what about it, Ricky? You ever watch Aaron Terrence Howard? You mean Aaron Terrence Hughes? Aaron Terrence Hughes makes some of the best fragrance out there, period. I highly encourage you guys, if you ever get into Aaron Terrence Hughes, try Ombre, try Unicorn, and try Hard Candy. What are your thoughts on Burberry London? I don't hear much about it. You know, it's very generic. A lot of people have bought it, but it really has kind of lived itself out. SB, is there something from one of your books on fragrances that you constantly think about, or any part that has impacted your philosophy on perfumes? The whole thing. I mean, I didn't make ebooks to entertain myself. I made ebooks to be helpful to you guys. So the ebooks are a product of everything beneficial to my journey thus far. So when it comes to comboing, there's a philosophy that I'm building on how to combo and how to approach comboing. And that requires interviewing perfumers and then going on my own journey. My book on S-tier clones. My philosophy on, you know, finding the right brands and picking the right qualities and looking at a brand's reputation and identifying fragrance houses by consistency of product and seeing them as a company. I think you guys will find that really useful. Seasons, how to approach seasons with fragrances and occasions with fragrances. You know, what else? There's a couple other ebooks that I'm working on. I'm just kind of drawing a blank right now. All of my combos that I've ever come up with, both original and mixing, and how to approach mixing fragrances, how to approach oils, how to approach lotions, how to approach buying, you know, sifting through websites and auctions and friend circles, and what's the best way to accumulate a big collection while spending the least amount of money. You know, all these ebooks that I come up with are, as I'm in my journey, I'll write pieces on each of these topics and then include them into the ebook and then structure it, you know, because I think it'll help you guys. I'm not just making up stuff to say I have an ebook. I want it to be super practical. And unlike most ebooks, this ebook will have a video audio book alongside it. So while you're reading a chapter, you can put your phone on a QR code and it'll warp you into a private YouTube channel where you can watch me speak on the subject before you read about it. So it's way more interactive than a typical ebook, which is why I think it'll be like one of one in the marketplace, because normally you read an ebook, the best you'll get is like an audio book, but I have a video book that'll go alongside each ebook that's very interactive, even to the point where, like, let's say you're reading about oils and then you watch my video, and then as you're reading you get inspired but you want to ask me something specific. Well, there'll be a membership access where if you purchase ebooks, you'll get free memberships into the community where once a month you can get on a call with me and we could walk through that section of the book. And if you have specific fragrances you want to branch out into or ask more about a particular subject, you'll be able to actually talk to me privately on call. I'll have events being ran around the country where people can do meetups, and I don't want to reveal too much of it, but it truly is going to be something that you guys have never seen before. Best off non, there's too many. Favorite tobacco fragrance? I don't have a favorite, but one that I'm really enjoying right now is Ombre Noir from Lalique. Thoughts on Oud Satin Mood Extrait? I do think it's incredible. I prefer the OG because I already felt the OG was quite intense. But the Extrait is good. I really have no complaints about it. Oh, thanks, Felix. I appreciate that. Not worried about a price. Want a niche cologne that will last for hours and turn heads. I'm into the sweet scents or the fresh scents. I wonder how the Killian Angels share scene reviews. If you like Killian, go with Straight to Heaven Intense or Straight to Heaven Extreme. I forget whether it's Intense or Extreme, but get either one of those. An incredible sweet scent. Patchouli, dried fruits, rum, raisin, and sweet clean-cut leather. Incredible. Trace Oros from day 3. Incredible. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick piss. You guys have 1 minute to ask me all your last-minute questions, and then we're going to sign off. I appreciate you guys. Be right back. All right, boys, let's answer some questions and get home. What's a good year-round leather that maybe leans warmer in scent? Ferragamo bright leather. Ferragamo bright leather if you want a warm, fresh, suede-ish kind of leather. Ferragamo red leather if you want a colder, fresh suede leather. So both are fresh. Bright leather is going to be warmer citric leather, but suede, blonde leather. Red leather is going to be a slightly colder, more ozonic car interior, fresh leather kind of suede. Even the cold one, though, is super fresh, but both are year-round versatile leathers. Have you tried the new Toy Boy fragrance? Getting a lot of hype. I don't think I have. Will I get reactions from wearing Tres Oros? Yes, it's my most complimented fragrance. Ever since you said, if I did not buy the fragrance for longevity, I did not buy the fragrance because of the... Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. I mean, you gotta love the scent, man. Some people, I think, chase things that people tell them to. You know, projection, longevity, EDT, EDP, parfum, extrait, intenso, supercalifragilistic, one fougere, one date night, one gym, one fresh scent, one vetiver, one rose, one oud. It's like, dude, you don't need to have one of everything. You don't need to always chase having, 10 out of 10 in every category. Like, everyone's 10 is some people's 4. It's like you have to first smell the scent and say, wow. If you can smell the scent and say, wow, like, you won't care about you won't even ask what the concentration is. You won't ask how long it lasts. You'll just spray it until it lasts forever. I genuinely feel like people look into that stuff about a fragrance if this fragrance isn't special. If it's just okay or like pretty good, then they have to like justify the purchase by saying like, oh, it lasts forever, or oh, the price point, or it's like all that stuff goes out the window when you smell something that excites you. Bonnie or Tres Oros? Tres Oros. Okay, guys, if I did not answer any of your questions, please put them in the comment section. If you're new here, I drop 1 to 4 videos every single day. Please, guys, pay attention to the community section and the playlist section to really navigate my channel well. It's been really refreshing to see that a lot of people that come to my channel are watching videos that I put out at the very beginning, which tells me that they're using the playlist feature and searching for stuff. Interact on the community section, guys. Like when I make posts about new videos and polls and questionnaires and stuff, that I'm giving you guys the opportunity to tell me what you want. Like people will go in my comment section and say, hey, I need a review of the new Gucci Guilty Elixir. I'll write that down. I'll review Gucci Guilty Elixir. Some people will say, hey, I need a recommendation for this. I'll give you a recommendation. Like literally anything you need to search for, you can search for it. Anything you need to ask for, you can ask for it. I'm very interactive with my audience. I just went through today and commented on 50 comments in one day. I'm really about building a relationship with you guys, and my community is special for a reason. I have 4,000 followers. I feel like I know all of the 4,000 people because, I interact with you guys. So, yeah, man. Please make use of those features. And thanks, Mike, for the kind words. Pro charge, how much money do you have? Michael's, that's already in progress. Yeah, I mean, if your wife is into stuff that's light and airy, I would recommend Day 3 Fragrances Bonnie. It'll smell luxurious, it'll smell heavenly, but it's light enough to where if she's a light sprayer and just likes to have the fragrance smell really good and enjoy the fragrance, but doesn't try to make statements and be like overly bombastic and crazy, she'll love Day 3's Bonnie, Bani. If she likes louder fragrances and likes to have like statement pieces and things like that, I would highly recommend, what was that dang fragrance? Grand Soir from MFK. Just a spectacular vanilla and amber. Or vanilla powder from Matiere Premier. Yeah, those will be great. So statement pieces, either of those latter two. If she's a quiet type, you know, likes her fragrance to smell good and wants to get compliments, but doesn't try to be overly loud, wants something more angelic, Bonnie is always a go-to. Bonnie just works for all women to feel like luxurious, expensive, but just very well kept to yourself, you know. Just, and you smell good. She'll smell it all the time on herself, but it's not going to be overly trying to get people's attention and be disruptive. Yeah, yeah. Vanilla powder is one of the best vanillas ever made, but Grand Soir is also one of the more best vanillas ever made. Vanilla powder is more true vanilla. Grand Soir is an amber vanilla that's more buttery and warm and cozy, but also very luxurious. Like those are vanilla powder, Matiere. Honestly, you cannot lose getting either of those two. Even though it's redundant to some extent, a woman who owns vanilla powder and Grand Soir, they'll buy both of them because they're both just incredible. It's like if a woman has, you know, a fruity shampoo or like one Dove shampoo or something, she's gonna have a conditioner that smells like it too. You know what I'm saying? Or like multiple shampoos that have fruits and stuff. You know, it's okay to have two. But yeah, starting a woman off on either musk based fragrances or vanillas is tried and true. So Bonnie is going to be her musky, slight tropical, but not quite. You know, it's just a very luxurious, like 5-star hotel resort level. You just paid $1,000 for a massage, and the oils they're using are just like make you feel like you're on a resort, but it's very angelic and light and musky. That's Bonnie. Vanilla powder and Grand Soir are like, I'm going outside. I want a scent trail of the most luxurious vanilla to be trailing off of me, and this intoxicating vanilla that can double as both fall, winter, or just any season evenings, or any seasons with a breeze. Those will be crazy. If we're talking designers, you know, you really can't go wrong with things like, you know, Libre, you know, YSL Libre Eau de Parfum, you know, there's one more that I'm trying to think about. Aqua de Gioia, Goia. That Armani fragrance is really good with women. Honestly, I just gave you some like straight heat. I wouldn't even look any further than that. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the stream. If you're new, please follow. Make sure you like and comment on this video so that we can always have some more people in here. And yeah, stay tuned. Dude, guys, here's a teaser. Let's end with this. This will be cool. So if you guys want a current update, you know, the studio, I need to clean it up, but the studio's finally complete. We have the film section for the new reviews with, you know, the special lighting kits set up now. I've got my fragrance library built out, all sorted by, you know, vintage, designer, niche, independent niche, and all that. I've got my weekly curated list of fragrances, clones, vintage, designers, niche, and independent niche. You know, we still have you know, giveaways and stuff. A lot of sealed product for giveaways. So we're just stocked to the gills there. We still have, you know, testers galore that we're reviewing. I can't even open these drawers at this point. There's just a lot of stuff. You know, more fragrances, daily rotation stuff. You know, tons of stuff we're still reviewing. Tons of stuff we're still picking up. Tons of stuff we're still reading on. You know, so there's a lot of stuff coming, guys. Appreciate you guys, all your feedback, all your interactions. 2026, if you thought it was crazy that I uploaded 1 to 4 videos a day every single day for a year and a half, look out for 2026 because we haven't done memberships yet. I haven't dropped my ebooks yet. I haven't started doing my conceptual videos yet or interviewing some of the bigger, more prestigious people I know in FragCom. It's going to be one for the books. I'm going to rewrite the blueprint of how to do this FragCom stuff. And I don't need the clout. I don't need the money. I do very well for myself. I'm very happy with my life, but I'm enjoying a very cool fragrance journey, and I want you guys to be a part of it so you can enjoy your journey and enjoy it with me. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy your Friday. Have a good weekend, chill out, learn to relax, learn to take a deep breath, do something that's not related to work or watching kids or being in the corporate ladder. You know, smell some fragrances, read a book, play a game, enjoy yourself. Take a break, get out of your normal bubble, and stay tuned because I'll be dropping more content. Love you guys. Have a great night.